Hello all, this is Mahidha from the ManageEngine AD Solutions team, and I would like to extend you all a very warm welcome. Before we move any further, I'd request you all to check whether my visuals are visible and whether I am audible. If not, kindly let me know over chat and we'll rectify that immediately. Let's take 30 seconds for this. If everything is fine, please drop in an OK message for us over chat. I hope everything is fine. Let us start with the workshop. Regarding any questions that you might have during at any point during this workshop, I would request you all to use the chat option. And I have another product expert here with me, and he'll be getting back to you with the answers right away. Let us first get into the agenda for today. For the sake of convenience, I've broken today's workshop into 7 parts. As you can see, this is the agenda for today. I'll I'll first give you a brief introduction to ManageEngine, to ADAudit Plus, and this workshop series itself, and then we'll move into the. I'll give you a brief overview of what ADAudit Plus is capable of, and then we'll be moving into what's required in the environment, in your environment, in terms of system requirements. We'll also be looking at, for those of you who haven't downloaded the product yet, I'll just show you the download and installation. After which we'll be talking about setting up the user account for ADAudit Plus, configuring audit policy, advanced audit policy, and SACLs in your Active Directory environment. And then we'll finally talk about setting up ADAudit Plus. I'll end with a recap of what we have gone through the entire workshop and also set the agenda for the next workshop. For those of you who are new to ADAudit Plus or perhaps new to ManageEngine itself, I'm giving this introduction about ManageEngine and ADAudit Plus. ManageEngine is a brand that is trusted by a whopping 3 of every 5 Fortune 500 companies. It offers a wide suite of IT solutions. ADAudit Plus is an IT security and compliance solution. It's basically a change auditing tool that audits changes occurring across your Active Directory, Azure AD, member servers, file servers, and workstations. When it comes to file servers, it also includes, other than Windows file servers, it also includes NetApp and EMC storage systems. That is about ADAudit Plus. About the workshop series, this is the first workshop. This workshop series consists of 4 workshops, and the 4 workshops will be conducted on the 17th, which is today, 18th, 24th, and 25th. They'll all be conducted at the same time. While in today's workshop, we'll be talking about how you can set up ADAudit Plus and your AD environment for real-time change auditing. In the second workshop, we'll be talking about some indispensable reports and alerts that ADAudit Plus offers. In the third workshop, we'll be talking about uh, the file server, member server, and workstation change auditing features that ADAudit Plus offers. While in the last workshop, we'll talk about how you can customize ADAudit Plus to your requirements. Now, every environment comes with its own set of requirements and how you can customize ADAudit Plus, and also about some of the more uh, critical functionalities of ADAudit Plus, like forwarding logs to SIEM consoles, and more in the final workshop. That said, let's dive into the second part of this workshop. which is a brief overview of ADAudit Plus, its security and compliance aspects. For this, I'd be showing you the ADAudit Plus console. As you can see, this is the ADAudit Plus console. This is the home tab of ADAudit Plus. I'll first take you through how ADAudit Plus helps you with compliance. Once you get into the reports tab here, I'm clicking on the reports tab. So here, you have a sub tab called compliance. Once I click on compliance, you can see a list of various compliance standards like SOX, HIPAA, and PCI. Now what we've done is we've mapped the reports that ADAudit Plus has to specific requirements that they help meet within that compliance. So this makes it really easy for the auditors to pull out reports with which they can meet the particular compliance standards. Uh, Something to note here, although there are just 5 compliance standards mentioned here like SOX, HIPAA, PCI, GLBA, and FISMA, ADAudit Plus also helps you meet other compliance standards like ISO, GDPR, and more. How, you may ask? I'll illustrate it with an example now. Tracking administrative user actions is an important part of tracking administrative user actions is an important part of is an important requirement of several compliances. And ADAudit Plus has a report which helps you track administrative user actions. If you didn't see what I did, I'm repeating it for you. There's a search option in ADAudit Plus which helps you search for the various reports that it offers. And when I click into the search tab and search for tracking administrative user actions, as you can see, you get a report over here called the Administrative User Actions Report. This report throws light on the various actions that have been undertaken by the administrators. Now, with such reports, you can meet requirements of various compliance standards, which are not just limited to the ones that are mentioned here: SOX, HIPAA, PCA, GLBA, and FISMA. So this is how ADAudit Plus helps with compliance. As you can see, the report just got loaded. This is Administrative User Actions Report. So ADAudit Plus helps with compliance. How does ADAudit Plus help meet security? I'm again taking up an example here. Again, using the search tab. Now we all know that security group membership is very important because members of a security group enjoy privileges across your domain. So tracking changes to membership in security groups is very important. And ADAudit Plus helps you with this. When I type in recently added members to a security group, I immediately get a report on the same. As you can see here, this report clearly shows you all the members who've been added to the security group in the last 30 days. Not only this, you can also configure alerts which can notify you as and when a member gets added to a security group. And these alerts are in real time. These alerts can be configured in such a way that you receive an SMS to your phone, or you receive a mail straight to your inbox as and when a member gets added to a security group. So ADAudit Plus helps you meet security needs. I'll take you through some of the functionalities that are common to all of our reports. You have 200 plus such reports, so you can imagine how much ADAudit Plus helps you with security and compliance. All of these reports are pre-packaged. Not only this, you can also customize reports. As you can see over here, you can customize reports, and we'll be talking about how you can customize reports, how you can configure alerts, and all that in later sessions. Uh, I want to ask all of you again if my voice is audible. Can you please let me know over chat if it is? Thank you. We'll carry on from where we left. So far what have we done? We've talked about how ADAudit Plus helps meet compliance through its wide array of reports. When we've also talked about how ADAudit Plus gives you reports that helps administrators meet security needs, and how you can even customize them, and how you can configure alerts that are real time. Uh, just before we took that short break, I was talking about how I'll take you through the functionalities. I was talking about how I'm going to take you through the functionalities that every report offers. Now, each of these reports have a time period which is customizable. You can set it yourself. You can set it for business hours or non-business hours. And ADAudit Plus gives you an option whereby you can configure ADAudit Plus to audit a multi-domain environment, which is what is basically here. You can export each of these reports to multiple formats like CSV, PDF, XLS, and HTML. You can add and remove columns, which is lower down here. So here, these are basically the various attributes of every report. As you can see, there are 20 plus attributes that every report offers. You can schedule these reports so that they can reach your inbox as and when you want them to. And you also have a search and advanced search options, which help you zero in on what you're looking for. If you're looking for something in particular, the search and the advanced search options can be used. So the bottom line being, ADAudit Plus helps administrators meet compliance. It also helps auditors meet their security needs. Let us move into this next part. I've already given you a brief introduction of I've already given you a brief introduction, and we've delved into the security and compliance aspects of ADAudit Plus, what's required in your environment. Now I'm going to show you a document. We are typing adauditplus.com, getting into our site. Getting into a second here, waiting for the site to load. As you can see, there's a documents tab over here, and once you click on the documents tab, you have the help document over here, which can be viewed online. Now, the reason why I am showing you all this is so that you don't spend any time taking down notes. You have all of these resources with you, and you can get back to this anytime you want. So just assimilate the information that I'm going to throw. We were talking about what's required in your environment. Clicking on getting started, you see the first tab which says system requirements, which is what we're going to talk about. Now the system requirements throws details about the hardware and the software requirements that would be required on the system in which ADAudit Plus is installed. Now ADAudit Plus can be installed on any system in your network, and it can be accessed using a web browser. Just make sure that the system in which ADAudit Plus is installed fulfills the system requirements which are mentioned over here. Now all these are very self-explanatory. Just go through them, and they are very minimal. Sure, almost all systems will fulfill these requirements, nothing fancy here. However, a few suggestions from our side. For those of you who already have ADAudit Plus installed in your environment and are facing lag in its performance, a few suggestions from our side. Try using a 64-bit Windows installation, a SSD hard drive, and a processor that's 2 gigahertz or more. The reason why I'm saying this is because if you do all of this, ADAudit Plus will be able to pull information faster. Uh, I'll take you through the architecture and how ADAudit Plus functions later. For now, if you do all this, which is using a 64-bit Windows installation, using a SSD hard drive, and using a processor which is 2 gigahertz or more, you can be sure that ADAudit Plus will function optimally. Uh, this is the first point, the first suggestion. The second suggestion being avoid installing ADAudit Plus on a server which has on a DC. The reason why I'm saying this is the server which is running the DC already has a set of duties that it's performing, and uh, you would not want the it already has a set of duties that it's performing, and you would not want to tax it any further. So just two suggestions from our side here. You can always go through the system requirements. All you have to do to get to this page is get into our site www.adauditplus.com, get into the documents tab and get into the help document, and you can find the system requirements under getting started. Since I mentioned about ADAudit Plus pulling information, I'll talk about the architecture of ADAudit Plus very briefly here. ADAudit Plus, as you can see, this is the architecture diagram of ADAudit Plus. I'll take you through each step. There are 6 steps basically. This is a very brief overview of how ADAudit Plus functions, the architecture behind ADAudit Plus. I'll take you through it. ADAudit Plus collects information from across your network, from your Active Directory environment, from your Azure AD, member servers, workstations, Windows file servers, NetApp, and EMC storage systems. That is step number 1. Once it collects all the information, all the log information, what ADAudit Plus does is it applies rules to these logs before storing it in its own DB, which is over here. It applies rules over these logs and stores it in its own DB. ADAudit, now you can archive the log data. The archiving feature that ADAudit Plus offers basically helps you to retain logs over a lengthy period of time, save your audit trails for later. These archive logs can be stored at a user-defined location, and they can be uh, restored anytime you want them. So ADAudit Plus pulls information from all of these entities, puts it into its DB, can also archive all of these logs. We're done with this part. ADAudit Plus also has the capability to forward logs to any SIEM system, like say ArcSight or Splunk, which is point number 4. Point number 3 talks about how ADAudit Plus helps you with uh, notifies you of any events happening across your environment using email and SMS alerts. Both of these can be configured. Point number 5 is this is basically the ADAudit Plus console, which shows you all the reports and alerts, which I showed to you a couple of minutes back. The console over here, this is represented here. So taking you through this entire diagram again, ADAudit Plus collects the log data from across all these entities, stores it in its own DB, and generates reports and alerts as and when it's required from the DB. It doesn't pull it from these entities. Rather, all of these log data was stored in its DB and later pulled and shown across its console. You have options to archive logs so that you can retain them for long periods of time. You have options to forward logs to any SIEM systems and you have options which allow you to configure real-time email and SMS alerts. Next, for those of you who haven't downloaded ADAudit Plus, you can always get into adauditplus.com and download the product. The download and the installation both put together won't take more than 3 to 4 minutes of your time. As you can see, as soon as the page loads, you have the download option over here, and you get a fully functional 30-day free trial of ADAudit Plus. So, we're done with the third part. What's required in your environment? To give you a very short recap, I took you through the system requirements. I first told you where you can find the required documents. I took you through the system requirements. I also gave you some suggestions on how you can improve the performance of ADAudit Plus. I took you through the architecture of ADAudit Plus and how it functions. And finally, I ended with the download, where you can download ADAudit Plus from. Moving on to the next part of our workshop, setting up the user account. Now, ADAudit Plus starts functioning. Let's get into the help doc again. ADAudit Plus starts functioning when the domain admin credentials are given. It starts functioning immediately. But in case of those organizations who are very particular about maintaining a least privilege environment, let's get into the privileges required to collect audit data here, which is what I'm talking about now. This page talks about the various things that you have to do to set up the user account for ADAudit Plus. Creating a user account in your Active Directory. As you can see, when the domain admin credentials are given, ADAudit Plus starts functioning immediately. But when the domain admin credentials are not given, like when you do not want to give the domain admin credentials so that you can have a least privilege environment, there are certain things that you should do, and the most important things are to first make sure that the account has the manage audit and security log privilege, which you can see over here. Get into your default domain controllers policy, get into computer configuration, policies, Windows settings, security settings, user rights assignment, and make sure that the user account has the manage auditing and security log privilege. That is number one. That is number one. With the manage auditing and security log privilege, you can ensure that excuse me for a second. With the manage auditing and security log privilege, you can ensure that the user with this right can specify auditing options for selected objects across your Active Directory environment. So this is very important. This is point number one. The second point is make sure that the user is a member of the event log readers group. For this, you'll have to get into your Active Directory users and computers, get into the built-in container and make sure that the user is a member of the event log readers group. Like I already told you, ADAudit Plus pulls information from the event logs. So for ADAudit Plus to pull information from the event logs, you have to ensure that the user account that is connected to ADAudit Plus is a member of the event log readers group. Like I already told you, two important points as far as this section is concerned, and we have discussed about both these points. The first being, make sure that the user has the manage auditing and security log privilege. The second being, make sure that the user is a member of the event log readers group. This document though continues. The other points aren't very important. This point, the DCOM and WMI permissions, deals with failover clusters, which we won't be getting into detail now. While this point, the member of the local administrator group talks about member server and workstation auditing, which we won't be getting into depth again now. The third point here is making the user a member of the group policy creator owners group. There is only one reason why you should do this, and the reason is now ADAudit Plus has the ability to ADAudit Plus has the ability to configure audit policy in your environment. And if you want ADAudit Plus to do this for you, you have to make sure that the user is a member of the group policy creator owners group. But like we talked already, if you considering that a lot of organizations look at creating a least privilege environment, uh, if you do not want to make the user a member of the group policy creator owners group, you will have to configure the audit policy yourself, which we'll be talking about in detail in the next step. So we are done with setting up the user account. A short recap of what we have gone through so far in this section. Uh, if you're giving the domain admin credentials, there is absolutely no problem. ADAudit Plus is going to start functioning immediately. But for those of you who are not okay with giving the domain admin credentials, you'll have to make sure that the user account connected to ADAudit Plus is set up. For which there are two important things which you'll have to do. The first one being, make sure that the user is a member of the event log readers group. Make sure that the user has the manage and audit security log privilege. Uh, and we also talked about the group policy, making the user a member of the group policy creator owners group, which is really up to you. If you want the product, if you want ADAudit Plus to set group to configure audit policies for you, you can make the user a member of the group policy creator owners group. If you do not want ADAudit Plus, if you want to manually configure audit policy and advanced audit policy, you can you need not make the user a member of the group policy creator owners group. With that, we are done with point number 4. We are getting into the next section, which is configuring audit policy, advanced audit policy, and SACLs in your Active Directory environment. So, I've taken a remote desktop session here. Excuse me for a second. Now, audit policy, advanced audit policy, and SACLs must be configured to ensure that all changes made across your Active Directory environment get logged in the security log, from where it's going to get pulled by ADAudit Plus, which we already saw in the ADAudit Plus architecture. Uh, like now, the help document that I already showed you, it has the system requirements, it has the privileges required to collect audit data, which is basically the setting up the user account, the information required to set up the user account. It also has information about configuring audit policy, advanced audit policy, and SACLs. When you click on the configuring audit policy tab and I'm getting down into domain controllers and manual configuration, you have two tabs here. The first one talks about setting up audit policy and advanced audit policy. The second one deals with configuring SACLs. Now, both of these documents lay it out in detail. They totally lay it out in detail. They'll help you set up, configure audit policy, advanced audit policy, and SACLs across your environment. All of this is self-explanatory, so I'm not going to get into this in depth. But a few points to note here. The first one, we all know about advanced audit policy. We know that it addresses similar issues as audit policy settings, just that it allows administrators to be more selective in the number and types of events to audit. An instance being, where basic audit policy provides a single setting for account logon, advanced audit policy offers 4. So advanced audit policy basically lets you define more settings for every event. for audit in every event. But what happens when both audit policy and advanced audit policy are set? You'll have to make sure that the advanced audit policy settings override the audit policy settings. And I'll show you how you can do this. We're getting into the group policy management console. We're getting into our domain, editing the default domain controller policy. We get into the group policy management editor, getting into computer configurations, policies, Windows settings, security settings, local policies, security options. Now, the reason why I'm just going with the flow is I've done all of this already. We're getting into forcing audit policy subcategory settings, which is basically forcing the advanced audit policy settings. And when I get into this, you can see that I've already enabled it. So this is the first suggestion. You have your audit policies configured. You also have your advanced audit policy configured. But how to make sure that the advanced audit policies override the audit policies is what I have just shown you now. The audit policies and the advanced audit policies are really just one part. The SACLs must also be configured to make sure that changes occurring across the Active Directory objects are recorded. Now you have your audit policy, advanced audit policy, and your SACL set. You have them all set. You've made use of the information in this page, and you have it all set. Now, how do you make sure that? How do you see the resultant group of settings that are present? Get into the group policy management console, and when you get into your domain and you go lower down, you can see a group policy results tab over here. Right click on it and run the group policy results wizard. Just go with the flow here, and once you're done with this, you can get a clear view. I'm getting into Windows settings, security settings, local policies, and other, and you can see that the advanced audit policy settings which I have forced are reflected here. So the group policy results wizard helps you see the resultant set of settings. This is with respect to audit policy and advanced audit policy. Similarly, you can also view the resultant set of settings as far as SACL is concerned, for which you'll be using the Active Directory users and computers console. As usual, get into your domain, get into properties, security, advanced, and auditing, and you can view the list of the SACL settings that are in place. With this, we are coming to an end to section 5 of our workshop, giving you a very brief recap. We talked in this section. We talked about how you can how the help document that we have will help you configure audit policy, advanced audit policy, and SACLs. It's up to you to decide what events you want what events in your environment you want to get logged, and just go through the information. You can set the audit policy, advanced audit policy, and the SACLs. And then I gave you a few suggestions. The first one being, make sure that you force the advanced audit policy settings over the audit policy settings. The second one being about the SACLs. And then we talked about how you can view the resultant set of audit policy, advanced audit policy, and SACL settings. For audit policy and advanced audit policy, you basically get into the group policy management console and you use the group policy results wizard. For seeing the resultant set of SACL settings, you get into the Active Directory user and computer console. The sixth section of our workshop, setting up ADAudit Plus. I'm opening up the ADAudit Plus console here. And the very first thing that you should do is configure the domain, which is very obvious. I have my domains configured here. As I already told you, ADAudit Plus allows for a multi-domain auditing option, which you can see over here. This is one domain. This is another one which I have configured. And under the ADAudit Plus domain, I have two DCs configured. I can add DCs from the button over here. ADAudit Plus will discover DCs for you. In case there is any problem with the DCs getting discovered, there must be an issue with the DNS setup, in which case you can manually add the DCs yourself. Once you have the domain configured and you've added the DCs, one of the questions that we get often is, in case you have say 10 DCs in your environment, should you get all 10 of them configured? The answer is an emphatic yes. You should get all 10 of them configured to make sure that no change gets lost. Every change is audited and is present in your reports. So once you have your domain and domain controllers configured, you can set the event fetch interval. And the recommendation here is to set it at real time. ADAudit Plus is able to show you reports and alerts, is able to provide reports and alerts in real time because of an API which we are tied to. It's a Microsoft API which really relays any change occurring on DCs to us. So it's the DCs that are working with us through this API. Reason why we are able to show all reports and alerts in real time. So we are done with configuring the domain and the domain controllers. I'm going to show you another important thing here is to make sure that ADAudit Plus is running as a service. For this, all that you have to do is there's a notification tab over here, and when you as soon as you download and install ADAudit Plus, you'll get a notification which lets you run ADAudit Plus as a service. All that you have to do is click on it. And since my ADAudit Plus instance is already running as a service, I do not have the notification here. So that's it about ADAudit Plus making ADAudit Plus run as a service. A few other options which I consider are important. A few alert me options which you can find under the administration tab over here. You can make ADAudit Plus alert you whenever ADAudit Plus stops collecting event log data. For this, you will be getting into the, like I already told you, you'll be getting into the admin tab, and you'll be getting into alert me, and you can configure an email address here. When you do this, ADAudit Plus will send you an email as and when it stops collecting event log data. Another important functionality here is the disk space analysis. When you get into this tab, you can make sure that ADAudit Plus alerts you when you're running out of disk space, and it's up to you to set up the as and when it's up to you to set up as and when ADAudit Plus should be alerting you. So with this, we are coming to an end to this section, and in this section, we are really talking about how you set up ADAudit Plus. We've talked about how you have to configure the domain controllers. It allows for a multi-domain option. Make sure that you have all your domain controllers configured. We talked about how it's important to run ADAudit Plus as a service, which you can do through here. We also talked about one or two alert options, all of which can be found under the admin tab. And we are getting to the last part of this workshop. And in this part, I'll be running you through a recap of everything that we've seen, the most important things which we've seen in 5 minutes. So those of you who haven't paid attention now, you can really pay close attention over the next 5 minutes. I'll be running you through all the important points. I give you a very brief overview of ManageEngine ADAudit Plus and this workshop series. All of this is general information. I then gave you a very brief overview of the security and compliance aspects of ADAudit Plus, the various compliance reports that ADAudit Plus offers, and how ADAudit Plus helps you meet security. Now we'll be looking at depth into the security and compliance aspects of ADAudit Plus in the remaining workshops. So this is just a brief overview. We then talked about what's required in your environment, which is the system requirements. I gave you a few suggestions. And then we talked about setting up the user account, which basically laid out two important points. Make sure that the user account that is connected to ADAudit Plus is a member of the event log readers group, and it has the privilege to manage and audit security logs, both of which are very crucial. We then talked about manually configuring audit policy, advanced audit policy, and SACLs across the environment to make sure that every event is recorded. Because only if the events are recorded, ADAudit Plus will be able to pull the events and generate reports out of it. Finally, we talked about how you can set up ADAudit Plus. Uh, we talked about configuring domains, domain controllers, setting up alerts in ADAudit Plus, and making sure that ADAudit Plus is run as a service. That is a recap of what we've gone through today. Setting the agenda for the next workshop. In the next workshop, I'll be taking you through the next. Let me tell this to you right away. The next workshop is going to be a lot more fun because we are going to get into the ADAudit Plus console, and we are going to look at how it helps you achieve a wide array of things. We are going to talk about how with ADAudit Plus you can track user log on and log off activity, how you can detect and analyze user account logouts, how you can track privilege group membership changes and administrative user actions, how you can get complete visibility into group policy changes. We'll also talk about how you can customize the reports, set up alerts, and how you can automate response to alerts, which is basically incident response. So as you can see, like I already told you, tomorrow is going to be a lot more fun because we are moving away from the technicalities into the functionalities of ADAudit Plus. With that, we come to a close of this workshop. Thank you all. And this is my mail ID, as you can see. Uh, type in any questions that you've got, and we'll get back to you with answers for the questions. Thank you. Until tomorrow.